Letter 216 by Charles Lamb. Charles Lamb to William Wordsworth PM, partly illegible. April 7, 1815. The conclusion of this epistle getting gloomy, I have chosen this part to desire our kindest loves to Mrs. Wordsworth and to Dorothea. Will none of you ever be in London again? Dear Wordsworth, you have made me very proud with your successive book presents. I have been carefully through the 2 volumes to see that nothing was omitted which used to be there. I think I miss nothing but a character in antithet, manner which I do not know why you left out. The moral to the boys building the giant, the omission whereof leaves it in my mind less complete, and one admirable line gone, or something come instead of it, the stone chat and the glancing sandpiper, which was a line quite alive. I demand these at your hand. I am glad that you have not sacrificed a verse to those scoundrels. I would not have had you offer up the poorest rag that lingered upon the stripped shoulders of little Alice Fell, to have atoned all their malice. I would not have given him a red cloak to save their souls. I am afraid lest that substitution of a shell, a flat falsification of the history, for the household implement as it stood at first, was a kind of tub thrown out to the beast, or rather thrown out for him. The tub was a good honest tub in its place, and nothing could fairly be said against it. You say you made the alteration for the friendly reader, but the malicious will take it to himself. Damn 'em, if you give 'em an inch and see the preface is noble and such as you should write, I wish I could set my name to it, imprimatur, but you have said it there yourself, and I thank you. I had rather be a doorkeeper in your margin than have their proudest text swelling with my eulogies. The poems in the volumes which are new to me are so much in the old tone that I hardly received them as novelties. Of those of which I had no previous knowledge, the 4 yew trees and the mysterious company which you have assembled there most struck me. Death the skeleton and time the shadow. It is a sight not for every youthful poet to dream of. It is one of the last results he must have gone thinking on for years for. Laodamia is a very original poem. I mean original with reference to your own manner. You have nothing like it. I should have seen it in a strange place, and greatly admired it, but not suspected its derivation. Let me in this place, for I have writ you several letters without naming it, mention that my brother, who is a picture collector, has picked up an undoubtable picture of Milton. He gave a few shillings for it, and could get no history with it, but that some old lady had had it for a great many years. Its age is ascertainable from the state of the canvas, and you need only see it to be sure that it is the original of the heads in the Tonson editions, with which we are all so well familiar. Since I saw you, I have had a treat in the reading way which comes not every day. The Latin poems of V. Bourne, which were quite new to me. What a heart that man had, all laid out upon town scenes, a proper counterpoise to some people's rural extravaganzas. Why I mention him is that your power of music reminded me of his poem of the ballad singer in the 7 Dials. Do you remember his epigram on the old woman who taught Newton the A-B? C, which after all, he says, he hesitates not to call Newton's Principia. I was lately fatiguing myself with going through a volume of fine words by Eld. Thurlow, excellent words, and if the heart could live by words alone, it could desire no better regale. But what an aching vacuum of matter! I don't stick at the madness of it, for that is only a consequence of shutting his eyes and thinking he is in the age of the old Elizabeth poets. From thence I turn to V. Bourne. What a sweet, unpretending, pretty-mannered, matterful creature, sucking from every flower, making a flower of everything, his diction all Latin and his thoughts all English. Bless him, Latin wasn't good enough for him. Why wasn't he content with the language which Gay and Prior wrote in? I am almost sorry that you printed extracts from those first poems, or that you did not print them at length. They do not read to me as they do altogether. Besides, they have diminished the value of the original, which I possess as a curiosity. I have hitherto kept them distinct in my mind as referring to a particular period of your life. All the rest of your poems are so much of a piece, they might have been written in the same week. These decidedly speak of an earlier period. They tell more of what you had been reading. We were glad to see the poems by a female friend. The one of the wind is masterly, but not new to us. Being only 3, perhaps you might have clapped a D at the corner and let it have passed as a printer's mark to the uninitiated, as a delightful hint to the better instructed. As it is, expect a formal criticism on the poems of your female friend, and she must expect it. I should have written before, but I am cruelly engaged and like to be. On Friday I was at office from 10 in the morning, 2 hours dinner, except to 11 at night last night till 9. My business and office business in general has increased so. I don't mean I am there every night, but I must expect a great deal of it. I never leave till 4, and do not keep a holiday now once in 10 times, where I used to keep all red-letter days, and some fine days besides which I used to dub nature's holidays. I have had my day. I had formerly little to do. So of the little that is left of life I may reckon two-thirds is dead. For time that a man may call his own is his life, and hard work and thinking about it taints even the leisure hours, stains Sunday with workday contemplations. This is Sunday, and the headache I have is part late hours at work the two preceding nights and part later hours over a consoling pipe afterwards. But I find stupid acquiescence coming over me. I bend to the yoke, and it is almost with me and my household, as with the man and his consort. To them, each evening had its glittering star, and every Sabbath day its golden sun. To such straits am I driven for the life of life, time. Oh, that from that superfluity of holiday leisure my youth wasted, age might but take some hours youth wanted not. And B, I have left off spirituous liquors for 4 or more months with a moral certainty of its lasting. Farewell, dear Wordsworth. Wordsworth had just brought out, with Longmans, his poems, including lyrical ballads and the miscellaneous pieces of the author, 1815, in 2 volumes. The character in the antithetical manner was omitted from all editions of Wordsworth's poems between 1800 and 1836. In the 1800 version of Rural Architecture, there had been these last lines, expunged in the editions of 1805 and 1815, but restored with a slight alteration in later editions. Some little I've seen of blind, boisterous works in Paris and London, mong Christians or Turks, spirits busy to do and undo, at remembrance whereof my blood sometimes will flag, then, light-hearted boys to the top of the crag, and I'll build up a giant with you. In the original form of the lines left upon a seat in a yew tree, there had been these lines. His only visitants a straggling sheep, the stone chat, or the glancing sandpiper. Wordsworth had altered them to his only visitants a straggling sheep, the stone chat, or the sandlark, restless bird, piping along the margin of the lake. In the 1820 edition, Wordsworth put back the original form. Those scoundrels, principally the critic of the Edinburgh, Geoffrey, but Wordsworth's assailants generally. That substitution of a shell. In the original draft of The Blind Highland Boy, the adventurous voyage was made in a household tub, like one of those which women use to wash their clothes. In the new version, the vessel was a turtle's shell. The preface, Wordsworth quotes from Lamb's essay in The Reflector on the Genius of Hogarth, referring to the passage as the language of one of my most esteemed friends. It is Lamb's description of imagination as that which draws all things to one, which makes things animate or inanimate, beings with their attributes, subjects with their accessories, take one color and serve to one effect. The Four Yew Trees, the poem is called Yew Trees. This is the passage in question. But worthier still of note are those fraternal four of Borrowdale, joined in one solemn and capacious grove, huge trunks, and each particular trunk a growth of intertwisted fibers serpentine upcoiling, and inveterately convolved, nor uninformed with fantasy, and looks that threaten the profane. A pillared shade, upon whose grassless floor of red-brown hue, by sheddings from the pining umbrage tinged perennially, beneath whose sable roof of boughs, as if for festal purpose decked with unrejoicing berries, ghostly shapes may meet at noontide. Fear and trembling hope, silence and foresight, death the skeleton and time the shadow. There to celebrate, as in a natural temple scattered o'er with altars undisturbed of mossy stone, united worship, or in mute repose to lie, and listen to the mountain flood murmuring from Juramara's inmost caves. Picture of Milton. This portrait, a reproduction of which I give in my large edition, is now in America, the property of the New York Public Library. V. Bourne, Lamb afterwards translated some of Bourne's poemata and wrote critically of them in the Englishman's Magazine in 1831, see vols. I and Roman 4. Lord Thurlow, but see letter to Bernard Barton of December 5, 1828 and note. Extracts from those first poems. Wordsworth included extracts from juvenile pieces, which had been first published in his Descriptive Sketches, 1793. A Female Friend, Dorothy Wordsworth. The 3 poems were addressed to a child, beginning, What way does the wind come from? The mother's return, and the cottager to her infant. To them each evening had its glittering star. The Excursion, Book V. Age might but take some hours, from Wordsworth's Small Celandine. Age might but take the things youth needed not.